one event tool that you can't live without.
I think my favorite is on ground, in person. If you're going to put your energy anywhere, it's going to be in-person events. So
Correct.
storytelling and networking are the two trends
Yeah.
for 2026.
Storytelling is like it's going to boom in
For
2026.
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Hello. Every great event begins with a spark, an idea that transforms into experience. So it's time for Tech Talk with me, Charmy, where you will listen to the stories that matters. And for a change, today we are into a virtual podcast environment. And we'll be hearing today a very exciting story, which is part of this new series theme that is what's new in 2026. So let's hear from an event manager who is working from last 8 years with the ecosystem, with the community, collaborating with tons of people, speakers, organizers, event organizers, using lots of event management tools. And so imagine 3 to 4 years ago, the world hit pause, venues went silent, stages was almost dark, and the event planners, right? The events that we love to go on, which is known for the one-to-one interactions, the physical venues, the fun, food, entertainment, and everything, everywhere found themselves staring at empty calendars, right? But something interesting happened in that silence was nothing but the industry that didn't stop, right? It reinvented itself. Now we are in the era where we are more focused on digital events, hybrid events, where we are giving our global audience chance to attend those events. So, having said that, please join me in welcoming Jen. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So, would you like to give us about your intro and we can start from there?
Yeah, sounds good. Hi, I'm Jen Herbanak. I've been in the events industry for almost 10 years now. I currently lead our field marketing and event management at Conte, so I've been with them for almost a year. Before that, my experience has sort of been rooted in a couple different areas of events. So I started my career in hotel management, actually with Marriott, learning the venue side of event operations, F&B, room blocks, meeting space logistics, setup. And then I moved over and worked for Forrester Research on their flagship events, doing sponsor and exhibitor management, working on booth deliverables, lead gen strategy,
Mhm.
sponsored activation, speaking sessions. And then I sort of put that all together and worked my way up to full scale event management, where I just came from on the agency side, actually at Dentsu/Merkle, where I worked with a lot of partner events, specifically in the Salesforce ecosystems,
Mhm.
sponsorships at B2B and B2C events, and working more sort of on the strategy side of things as well, and learning how to integrate marketing with that, also with the logistics
Great.
side. So yeah, I got my CMP last summer, and then started with Conte in March, which has been an
Mm-hmm.
amazing experience so far. And
Right.
yeah, continuing to sort of grow and learn every day.
Yeah, and the event landscape is evolving a lot. So tell me
Yeah.
about something like how you see in 2026 the event landscape is evolving.
Yeah, so I think in 2026, as you've sort of already touched on, there's two major shifts that we're going to see in the event landscape,
Mhm.
right? One is the virtual events craze is dying down a bit. We've already seen this happen slowly over the past couple years, but especially now with AI and technology, people are just desperately craving human connection and
Right,
face-to-face storytelling and interaction too.
right.
We just finished up our event, Dreamin' on Tap, which the virtual version of Dreamin' was so great in COVID times. It was the right place, the right timed. It was for an underserved audience in a time when they really needed it the most. But today it's really hard. We can't hold like this the same level of expectations for virtual. So
Right.
we shifted this year. We tried a slightly different format. We did see some success with that, but I think we'll have to keep continuing to shift into
Mhm.
next year to keep up with what attendees expect from virtual. I think virtual content has become really accessible and sometimes noisy with just the millions of things that everyone has on their plate every day. I think there's going
Correct.
to be a bigger focus on in person, like whether that's a dinner, a round
Correct.
table, or larger expos, I think are going to
Yeah,
see a big uptick
or
in
maybe
attendance.
closed door events, which with limited audience, and that is already, I think, started. And hybrid events are a lot nowadays. I have seen that Salesforce is also organizing so many hybrid events. They're one of the
Yeah,
community of design days. So the design days community event all are mostly hybrid. So they allow people to
right.
join virtually also, and 2 days they can join virtually, one day they can come in person. So it's good over there. And
Exactly.
I totally agree that attendees' expectation is increasing, and every day
Yes.
new rule, every day new expectation. So, in your view, our today's audience is more driven by a content or a networking, like, or maybe we can say a overall experience, like how they are foreseeing that.
Yeah, I think the other thing I was going to mention is that networking is
Mm,
what's driving people. I think, the answer is overall experience, obviously, but networking is a super important part that we're going to see. I think people are just craving like the real time experience and
mm,
hearing what's worked for other people. And I think our attendees are going to be looking for more ways to connect. There has to be
correct,
more networking built into your programs at events. I think we learn the most from each other in this day and age. So you can always like Google or use AI for a quick answer. You and I probably do that every day.
yeah,
But like I mentioned, when it comes to that real world experience and like what's working, what's not, the stories and experience behind it, I think networking is a huge part of that. And you're going to turn to your
correct.
peers for those stories. So I think that's going to take more of a center stage than content. And while
Mhm.
content is always, important at an event, I think it's the human connection piece and just how people are kind of driven by their feelings and emotions at
Correct.
events and getting something that's really unique that you can't get behind a screen these days.
Right. And that's why we say that AI is not here to replace. It's just increasing
No,
the productivity. Whatever type of
exactly.
AI is coming in the world, still,
Yeah,
people are going to seek for the human connection, human
right.
touch, one-to-one interactions, and doing the gossips and everything. We do everything on events, right?
Exactly. I like to say it's here to support, not replace, especially with
Right.
our roles, right? Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And also, now since the event industry is also evolving, there are already there are so many tools in the market that is getting introduced, and they are also trying to give that AI element. So, any tool that you are using, or like how you recommend the best tool or something like that?
Yeah, I think just starting off with some basic ones. I think Chat, Gemini, any sort of LLM has been
Mhm.
a huge game changer for me with event planning. It sort of acts like my second brain when I need help brainstorming ideas, content. I recently built like a custom GPT that I kind of use as like a project shrinker where it just breaks big
Nice.
projects into micro steps. And sometimes recently that's what my brain needs to move forward
Uh-huh.
some days. We've also experimented with creating custom gems to help us like write copy or promo emails for events where it already has sort of the tone and messaging uploaded to that custom gem, and then our whole team has access to it. So if we need something on the fly or last minute to give an asset to someone, that's something that we've kind of worked on
Correct.
creating ourselves. There's actually a lot of event management specific
Mhm.
platforms. Spark is a really good one. It's
Okay.
basically like ChatGPT, but it's specifically for event planners. So you can create
Mhm.
budgets, agendas, session abstracts, anything you need. There's a free version available. So that's kind of a fun one that I've
Mhm.
experimented before. But like you mentioned, I think especially with event management, there are so many like project management manual details that I don't think we're quite there yet with replacing any sort of project management
Correct.
tool with AI. I think there's just like a human element of people
Right.
management that we're just not there yet, but definitely in the future can see that evolving.
Right. And how do you see this AI-driven solutions that for event planning, right? You mentioned that it's already helping you, especially in scheduling, routing, maybe attendee moment, or maybe post-event communications. So, do this tool is the mixture of multiple tools, or it's like any one tool that is helping? Like how the tools play a role over here?
I think it's a mixture of
A
tools.
mixture.
I
Mm,
use Asana for event management and project management. That's
correct.
kind of my like favorite tool right now. But in
Right.
terms of bringing in AI, yeah, it's a mix of chat. It's a mix of Gemini. I also think, there's a lot of tools in Salesforce Marketing Cloud with Agentforce. Like we use all of those tools as well to help create a lot of our campaigns and email messaging. So I think you're kind of pulling from a bunch of different buckets depending on what stage in the process of the project that you are.
And I think today's kids who are stepping into this professional world, they are also like very, very well like pro on these tools, and they come up with
Yes.
very amazing ideas and innovations and so many things. Creativity, lots of creativity in events. There are so many. I think when we go to nowadays, when we go to booth, there are so many digital engagement or digital activities. Companies have started instead of any games or something like that. Very curious to know. There are three parts, right? Nowadays, hybrid, we have virtual, we have on-ground events. So there are three different type of events that are, organized right
Yep.
now. So what would be the key difference between all these events that you would like to
Yeah,
highlight?
I think there's sort of three key differences for across all of these types of events. It comes down to complexity, cost, and
Mhm.
also the type of engagement that you're getting. So just to kind of run down the line, hybrid events the most complex, right, out of the bunch because you're essentially running two experiences at once. So
Mhm.
you have to be hyper focused on how those teams are working together to sync up your content, your comms, the vision for both sides of the event. And it's also the highest cost because you're funding not only the in-person venue, travel, production, but you're also broadcasting, streaming, you're building a virtual platform plus additional staffing on both sides. The cost is higher.
Correct.
But the big difference here is that the ROI on hybrid events obviously has the largest potential
Mhm.
naturally, right? Since it's the strongest reach, it's going to be measured not only
Correct.
by attendance, but also content longevity, and you can repurpose content and you're getting the digital clicks on assets. So, hybrid events, that's kind of the rundown of those three elements, I would say. Virtual events, quickest to stand up, though it does rely heavily on your access to the right tools and
Mhm.
technology. Specifically web design skills. People are looking for
Correct.
a seamless experience on the digital side of things, so there is extra pressure there. It sort of needs to be foolproof, I would say, in
Mhm.
2026. Budget is a lot lower for virtual events, really outside of guest speakers or maybe some giveaways. So that's kind of the key differentiator that sets it apart there. Um, and then ROI for virtual events is probably the easiest to measure since you're getting
Mhm.
real-time engagement data. It's great for those like top of the funnel educational moments. But we don't always see the highest rate of return since the audience is so big. Anyone can really click on a session or an asset. So I would say like the intent is a little bit lower in people's engagement for virtual events. And then obviously
Right.
the last one, in-person events, the biggest difference here is the logistics. The planning has to start a lot sooner, 3 to 6 months, maybe longer, depending on the size of the event, the amount of deals or details that you're dealing with. So staffing is a big part of that. And then, budget sort of sits in between virtual and hybrid, but it's still on the higher side. F&B costs are always going way up. The taxes and fees at venues are just astronomical these days. So just expect that to be like a huge expense for you and your attendees. Um, and then I would say the biggest difference with ROI, I think, for in-person events next year is it's going to be measured a lot more in quality, not quantity. Like, obviously, you do need that dollar amount to hit your goals and to make an event worth it. But I think like depth over scale as compared to virtual events. Like it's the hardest to measure since a lot of it happens in conversations rather than just like pure clicks and data. But I think your ROI is the strongest from in-person events. We just need to maybe go about measuring or viewing it a little bit differently. So, yeah.
Correct. And this was very amazing. And so, as per your experience, like which event format has been, able to attract the highest audience engagement?
I think it has to be in person. I think people are more focused and they've invested more, into traveling to an event. So if they're taking time away from their work, their personal lives to actually be there in person, getting the chance to speak to people they wouldn't otherwise, they're putting a lot of their personal time and investment. So I think you're seeing the most engagement and people want to make the most out of these. So you can't really like ignore, a speaker or a person face to face like you can with a virtual event where you're answering emails in a different tab with a session up. It's just a higher level of interaction and emotion and engagement when you're actually physically in person. So in my experience, luckily we've seen that they aren't replaceable moving forward after COVID and the whole virtual event sort of uptick we saw. I think it's still really difficult to replicate that in-person experience.
Correct. And if we talk about today, like how are the companies evaluating the event ROIs today in 2025, and what will be done in 2026? Like what do you think? What KPIs will matter now onwards?
Yeah. I think companies are evaluating ROI today in more of a holistic lens. So, sort of as I mentioned before, like not just how many people attended, but who engaged, right? Like what conversations influenced pipeline, how the experience felt and moved a client conversation forward. So a couple of those KPIs could be like MQL to SQL conversion, if you're putting a name to it, net new pipeline, ratio of your ICP attendees to the rest of the audience, like who was in the room and were they the right people. And I think we also measure the amount of meetings booked, whether that's pre-event, on-site, post-event, because I think that says a lot about the conversations that you're having and if, there was a conversation that was worth moving a deal forward. Obviously, email engagement is an easy answer. Does a campaign that you stood up really drive attendance? And then I think sentiment surveys is a big one. I think those are important. Like going back to how an event made your attendees feel, like did they actually get what they wanted out of it? I think this is sort of that like elusive, like emotional piece that is really hard to measure. But I think it'll be super important in 2026. I think to your point, like attendance is becoming sort of a vanity metric. So I think companies are going to judge like how well they accelerate relationships rather than how well they filled seats or filled a room. I think it's more of like the long-term play that people are focused on.
Correct. It's time for one of our new segment that's like we'll be introducing from for this new series, Tech Truth or Myth. So this is something very exciting for me. So I'll ask you some questions and you have to just say truth or myth. We will not go
Sure.
into the explanations. Let's
Okay,
be
sounds
very
good.
quick. Yeah.
Ready.
So very first, AI will replace event planners.
Myth.
Correct. Virtual events have lower engagement compared to physical events.
I'm gonna say truth.
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 Yeah, correct. We want more physical events. Event
Exactly.
success. Event success can now be measured without attendee numbers.
Truth.
True? Great. So this is like a new shift. I would say that now you don't need attendance numbers to measure your success. Attendees prefer shorter event due to shrinking attention spans.
I'd say myth for this one, actually.
Mhm.
Myth. Hmm.
Yeah. Then we have AI generated agendas can replace manual event scheduling.
Myth. It's that
Yeah.
word replace. Yeah,
That's why we say that AI cannot replace your work. It's
right.
just it's just helping you to increase your productivity.
Exactly.
Event ROI depends more on digital interactions than a ticket sales.
Myth.
Man, correct. Agreed. I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
It's not true and false, but yeah, I do agree.
Right.
Uh, People attend events more for networking than a content now.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Definitely.
So, and now we have a last AR or VR. Since we are into an AI driven world, AR VR will become a standard in event experience, not an experimental.
I'm gonna go myth for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Myth.
Okay.
Hmm.
I was thinking of truth because I have seen that I've attended few events and it's like everywhere is robots going on there. They're giving that
Yeah,
visual experience to their booth visitors and yeah. But yeah, you are
it's
more
true.
into events.
It's
You're
true.
more
I definitely think this lands somewhere in the middle. I think it's maybe that word like standard that tripped me up. Like I don't know that it'll be at all events, but I think certainly like it'll
correct.
become more than experimental. I think that's going to be just like a natural progression. But
Right.
I think if people are kind of going for face-to-face interaction, I don't know that robots are the answer to that. But I do think it's cool to see
Hmm.
them, wandering around and seeing the VR experiences that people are getting into now. It's definitely all very cool spaces to watch for sure.
Correct. And but for I feel that because I have been into the domain like manufacturing and oil and gas and all those field
Yeah,
work domains, for them, AR VR kind of experiment or experience will be like very helpful for them. They can show the 3D of their products and whatever they are manufacturing, and they can give that experience of their
true.
product.
Yep,
So it depends on industry, we can say.
it does. Yeah, 100%. That's a great point. It does depend on the industry and what people are actually looking to learn at an
Yeah.
event for sure.
And having said that, here we are with our quick bite segment where that is nothing but a rapid fire round. So we'll hit on a questions and maybe you can give answer in a one line
Sure.
and we can stretch out if required. Okay. So yeah. So here we are into our rapid fire segment. And here is the first question. This one is my favorite. I'm not sure why, but hybrid, virtual, or on ground? Which one is your favorite for bringing that maximum in?
I think my favorite is on ground in person. If you're going to put your energy anywhere, it's going to be in-person events.
Correct.
Yeah.
And one event tool that you can't live without.
Yeah, I'm old school, so I'm going to say Asana because it's a project management tool and that's sort of what event managers thrive on. So it might not be the fanciest answer, but can't live
Yep.
without a good project
Asana is
management
good.
system.
Asana
Yeah.
is good. I'm also using it. So it's very
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
So one common mistake an event manager should stop making immediately.
I would say basing the success of your event off of purely just head count. Like I mentioned, I think there's other ways to measure success rather than just how many people you have on your reg list.
Correct. And which would be the one trend that might dominate events in 2026?
I think it's going to go back to networking,
Mm.
whether that's more creative ways to network. I also think storytelling, like in your main stage content and your breakout content, it's got to be real life examples, case studies, storytelling. So
Correct.
storytelling and networking, are the two trends
Yeah.
for 2026.
Storytelling is like it's going to boom in
For
2026.
sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. And having said this, here we are at the end of our session. And thank you so much, Jen, for joining us today. And one last thoughts that you would like to give to us, to give our audience. Maybe be they are event managers or event planners or they are attending events.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. I would say one thing to leave you with is just I really don't want people to forget about like the human connection piece of events. I think in a world that's so AI and tech driven, like we have to be tapped into our attendees' emotions, what they're motivated by, and just kind of bring back that old school like hospitality piece of event management and more experience creation rather than just um, adding more technology, more virtual, more digital assets. I think the answers you're looking for are going to come from what your attendees truly want and what they get out of face-to-face interaction. So I would say don't forget about the human element of event management.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Jen, for
Awesome.
amazing information and insights. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching us and listening to us. And see you soon in the another one. Thank you.
Thank you.